Hi, my name is Alexander Fedrow. I'm part of the Geology 22 class, The Age of Dinosaurs. Today I will be exploring the dinosaur known as Ankylosaurus magniventris, and he looks a bit like that. Spiky, armored, club tail, low to the ground, completely covered in armor and spikes. So the name Ankylosaurus means fused lizard in Greek. This is because of its tank-like structure, fused sacral vertebrae and ribs, along with its fused together armored body plates that cover most of its body. And as you can see here, this is the fused together plates, neck, head, tail. It suggested that the back shell and armor was for protection, but also used for thermal regulation. It was able to receive a large flow of blood supply, and it was thought by paleontologists to be able to blush in a pinkish hue. This could have been another form of thermal regulation, or possibly something used for in sexual nature. Ankylosaurus magniventris was first discovered in 1906 in the Hell Creek Formation in Montana, United States of America, by a team of paleontologists led by Barnum Brown. In 1908, Barnum Brown first described Ankylosaurus magniventris in the scientific article The Ankylosauridae, a new family of armored dinosaurs from the Upper Cretaceous. In this article, he described the family of Ankylosauridae as their characteristics being skull massive, short and broadly triangular, with dermal plates solidly coossified to cartilage bones. The teeth are stegosauroid with ovate, lanceolate, flattened crowns, and crenulate edges. The vertebrae amphipoplitean, solid throughout. Its neck short, backbone stiff. Its body broad and covered with heavy armored plates arranged in rows. So, Ankylosaurus magniventris is in fact a dinosaur. It's part of the node Dinosauria. From Dinosauria, you can follow it to the Ornithischia. From Ornithischia, you can follow it to Thyrophora. From Thyrophora, you follow it to Eurypoda. From Eurypoda, you get Ankylosauria, then Ankylosaurinae, and Ankylosauridae. Ankylosaurus magniventris is part of the group Thyrophora, or shield bearer, which are obligate quadrupeds with a bony armor. From there you can zoom further into a group called the Eurypoda, which all have an anterior ilium that is longer than the posterior. Ankylosauria have fused sacral vertebrae and an armored head. What makes Ankylosaurus and Euplecephalus, which are both Ankylosaurinae, unique from this group is they have a tail in which the caudal vertebrae form into a form of handle made of ossified tendons that hold on to a bony club at the tip. The club is formed from the fusion of several large osteoderms to the last tail vertebrae. So from Eurypoda, if you go down one node from Ankylosauridae, you'll hit Eurypoda. From Eurypoda, the sister taxon to Ankylosauria is Stegosauria. So this was I guess in the grand scheme of things, a medium-sized dinosaur. Its size, height, and mass were roughly, for perspective, its height was about as tall as a full-grown human, and its length was about 3 times as long as a human is tall. The largest Ankylosaurus specimen ever found was 20.5 feet long, or 6.25 meters. It stood 5.6 feet tall at the hips, or 1.7 meters, and at 4.9 feet, or 1.5 meters wide. According to the study published by the Canadian Journal of Earth Sciences, it likely weighed up to 4 tons or 3.6 metric tons. So as far as we know about the diet, so based on the fossil record of the structure of this animal and its skull, it having the wide beak and the triangular head that stood very short off the ground, as well as the geological evidence of types of plants that were around in the area at the time. The Ankylosaurus mainly was a grazer cropping on low-lying deciduous angiosperms and herbaceous plants. Its teeth were different than other members of Ankylosauria and not necessarily designed to be able to strip and digest plants with a strong, waxy protective coating. It most likely ate lush vegetation that lacked protective structures. The differences in teeth and muzzles between nodosaurids and ankylosaurids, which were both parts of Ankylosauria, suggest that these animals, though being very similar in nature, did not need to compete for food and thus were able to cohabit the late Cretaceous coastal plain. Ankylosaurus magniventris had very broad horizontal hips, and it had fusion of rearmost ribs to their dorsal vertebrae, making a rigid accommodation for an enlarged rear gut, which suggests hindgut fermentation as their main form of digestion. Now, these teeth, though being similar to the nodosaurids, are in fact very specific to the Ankylosaurus magniventris. See, they're leaf-shaped with serrated edges, flat. So as far as other dinosaurs that were around this area during this time period, in the Hell Creek Formation in Montana, along the coastal plain of the Western Interior Seaway, only 2 predatory dinosaurs that have been found in the Hell Creek Formation that were large enough to pose a threat to the Ankylosaurus magniventris were Tyrannosaurus rex and Dakotaraptor. There were other predators, but these were the only 2 really large enough to seemingly pose a threat, though it also said that the teeth of the T-Rex would most likely just slide off the Ankylosaurus's armor and was maybe only able to eat scavenged Ankylosauridae. Other notable contemporary herbivore dinosaurs of the time that were discovered in the late Cretaceous Hell Creek Formation were Edmontosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, Triceratops, Torosaurus, and Edmontonia. In conclusion, Ankylosaurus magniventris was a late Cretaceous ankylosaurid that lived along the coastal plains of the Western Interior Seaway. It was a robust animal with a short, squatty, but long posture that belonged to the group Thyrophoria or shield-bearing dinosaurs. Ankylosaurus had a heavily armored body and skull. The armor could be used for protection or thermoregulation. It also swung a solid club at the end of its tail. It was an herbivore that spent most of its time grazing on low-lying ground-covering plants. And it, as well as most of the late Cretaceous period dinosaurs of this area, are believed to have died off in an extinction event caused by an asteroid impact at Chicxulub, Mexico.